How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're going to be taking a look at our lineup preview for Game Week 2. We will take a look back at how we did in the first game of the season, first game week. 10 games off the board, 370 to go in the Premier League. We'll see how we did. We'll see what transfer I've already made. Maybe I've done it already. We'll have to wait and see. And we'll see what captaincy options we have for this week as well. We'll discuss that briefly. I'm going to go in a bit more depth in a video probably next week on that as well. Because it could be, on the trickier weeks, I think the captaincy discussion is a bit more fun rather than kind of the plain and simple weeks. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it's readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, and give us a follow over on Twitch so you can join us live for our preview deadline at any impromptu FPL streams over on Twitch this season. There's a pinned comment down below to let you know when the streams are, where they are, all that good stuff. Now, without further ado, let's see what the team scored in Game Week 1. So this is how the team scored in Game Week 1. 61 points, which leaves us around 3.2 million out of, I think, close to 8 million, if not more than 8 million players, which is just crazy to think about. Just slightly above average. I think it was 4 points above the average. 57 was the average, if I remember correctly. Obviously, no transfers were made because we got to set our teams up for Game Week 1, and no chips were used. Starting from the back, Ramsdale with the 6 points. Very happy about that. Wasn't expecting that game to be a clean sheet in the opening 7 or 8 game weeks for him, but got quite fortunate there. He was just 1 BPS score short of getting 1 bonus point. If he'd made another save, he would have got 8 points in total had he kept his clean sheet still. Moving on to the double Liverpool defense. Bit disappointing, Liverpool a bit disjointed, but we know that Trent and Robertson are going to get the attacking returns, so no panics there. Reece James and Cancelo, the 2 7s there, both got booked, both still got 2 bonus points. That's why we have him in the team. And Perisic we knew was probably not going to start. I started him anyway. He did come on. Sessegnon looked like he was probably going to be hooked just before he scored the goal. Conte left him on a bit longer. Does Perisic come in for the Chelsea game? We'll talk about more of that when we get to the defender section in the next part of the video. But for now, happy with Perisic. Don't really mind if he goes down in price because I think he's going to be good value in the fixtures to come between game weeks 3 and 7. Salah captain. Pretty simple, kept it simple. Know his record versus the bottom teams or the teams that are newly promoted in game week 1. He did well, albeit at a very fortunate kind of circumstances there. But nonetheless, 24 points, 12 points double to 24 with the captaincy is a fantastic return. Gabriel Martinelli could have potentially had 2 goals, got just the 1. Still happy about his performance with the 8 points. Pedro Neto and Jesus, I like what I saw in the game. Neto actually got the hockey assist, as it were, the assist of the assist for the goal that they scored. I liked the way that they were playing. They were still getting involved. They had chances of their own. They're not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And Harry Kane was probably the one player that we knew going into next week was most likely going to get the hook. Only the 2 points. Only really had 1 chance for himself. Spurs scoring 4 goals and him and Son not getting a single goal in the game was just absolutely mind-boggling. The last 15 fixtures that Spurs have scored at least 1 goal. Kane and Son, that's kind of them being put together. Son and Kane, that's probably easier to say, had scored in, at least one of them had scored in the last 15 fixtures. So Spurs get a goal at any point in the last 15 fixtures that they did score a goal. Either Kane or Son scored in those fixtures, which is crazy. And the one fixture they score 4, neither of them get a goal, and Son only comes out with just 1 assist. So captainers and those who doubled up on Spurs did find it a bit tricky, all things considered. Again, it's one of those things where the decision was probably could have been a correct decision, just the variance just didn't go your way. If you run that fixture back 9 more times to make it 10 in total, at least probably 7 of those times, Kane and Son get probably a return each at least if they score 4 goals. And then on the bench, Ward, glad to see that he's playing. We now have a backup goalkeeper to Ramsdale at 4 million, which is great. Andreas Pereira, liked what I saw there. He's going to be a bit inconsistent, but he is on set pieces, so that's quite nice. Cameron Archer coming off the bench, that's still pretty good. And then Josh Da Silva scoring an absolute banger. We potentially might need him in game week 3. Him getting himself a goal may see him come into the team, although they did just sign Damsgaard, so maybe that scuppers that just a little bit. But that's just a wait and see. We won't need either him, Archer, or Andreas Pereira to fill in for Pedro Neto probably until game week 3. Maybe we need them this week for Perisic, but again, press conferences might dictate that. I might just be bullish and just keep him in there anyway. But let's move on to who I have currently in my team in goal and in defense. So as it stands currently in defense, we have the same 5 at the back as well as Ramsdale in goal. We have Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson going up against Crystal Palace. They have their first home fixture of the season. I expect them to improve, and we may be expecting some attacking returns from them in this coming game week. That's at least the hope. Hopefully they can get better than 1 point apiece than they did versus Fulham. Ramsdale, again, this wasn't a fixture I potentially had in mind for a clean sheet, but if he does manage to get a few save points in this one, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I don't expect a clean sheet, though. I do expect Leicester to at least get 1 goal in this one, because it always seems like they're good for a goal, whether it be a set piece from Maddison or just a ball in behind for Jamie Vardy. They seem to find a way there. It's just, can they stop the goals going in their own net? And I expect Ramsdale to still have to make a few saves. If he does keep the ball at the back of the net, he could see some bonus points coming his way. James and Perisic both going up against each other. James at home and Perisic away, playing at Stamford Bridge. I expect Reece James to play, although I expect him to play as a right-sided centre-back, kind of to neutralise Son on the opposite side of the pitch and the opposition. Perisic might come in because of the fact that, you know, maybe Conte wants the experience. He often talks about how Sessegnon needs to learn from Perisic and all this sort of stuff. So maybe that's just me kind of thinking, well, Perisic's got to come in at some point. Maybe the big game is where he wants him to come in for. I mean, Perisic, you know, well experienced in Europe, been around and seen it all, made it to a World Cup final with Croatia, and he's just naturally just so good, provides a lot of versatility, and does the defensive work. That's one thing he's actually very good at as well, is defensively he is quite solid, and then going forward he's even better. So I'm going to keep Perisic in, I think, for now, unless there's something in the press conference that tells me otherwise, where Conte's like, yeah, Perisic ain't playing, he's injured, or we're definitely not playing, we're sticking with the same team, then maybe I take him out. But for now, he's still in there. And then João Cancelo got 7 points last week with the yellow card. Hopefully he doesn't get booked this time. He should be up against less of a threat versus Bournemouth at home. And maybe he can deliver a couple onto potentially some other Man City's heads players, and we can see him get some big bonus points for himself and get the 3 full bonus points potentially. Unless those go to Erling Haaland, in which case he might only just get 2, because Haaland got max bonus points last game week. And maybe we're bringing him in just for that, but you have to wait and see until we get to the forward line, because we have 1 free transfer. Do we use it? We'll have to wait and see. Maybe it's in midfield. Let's find out. Spoilers, it's not in midfield. The transfer could potentially be still in the attack, though. You've probably already guessed, because we mentioned it a lot on streams as well about what I was going to be doing in Game Week 2. But currently, Salah has the vice captaincy. Now, maybe a bit controversial. Salah typically does quite well versus Crystal Palace, but I think the team looks pretty good. A bunch of home fixtures there. Neto at home to Fulham. Expect a return there. Martinelli could get something versus Leicester. That would be quite nice for him. I thought he played really well versus Crystal Palace, and I don't expect this place to be under threat anytime soon, unless he, you know, obviously gets injured or just completely falls off in terms of form. But I really like that midfield currently. I have no reason to see why I would want one of the 8 million midfielders if we kind of just think about all of them as it stands right now. I mean, Mahrez only came on for a couple minutes. Phil Foden looked pretty good, but I don't believe he ended up getting a return because Haaland got taken down for the penalty and then took it. And then De Bruyne played the pass into Haaland for the second goal. So Phil Foden hasn't got a return as of yet. I probably expect him to be maybe the best out of the 8 million midfielders as it stands after 1 game week. Diaz looked good, but it's probably not as good as what we would expect. Thought Foden played better. Bukayo Saka, maybe a bit unlucky to not get more returns from that game. Looked pretty good, although oftentimes was quite wide, which could diminish his returns a little bit. Maybe the role of Gabriel Jesus is potentially taking more of the ball away from him and forcing it down to the left-hand side, where Zinchenko and Martinelli looked so good. So unless Bukayo Saka is coming in and around the back post and getting tap-ins that way, maybe his returns will drop down. So again, still a bit of inconsistent for him there. As well as Dejan Kulusevski. We saw him, goal and assist, fantastic. But he's going up against Chelsea this week. And Richarlison's back in the team after being suspended in Game Week 1. What can we see there? And then Mount got subbed off early as well. Again, coming off with no returns. Will he continue to stay in the team because the front three looked very, very dysfunctional? So at the moment, I'm fairly happy not having an 8 million midfielder. Maybe that changes with a couple game weeks, more data and information and eye tests to look at. We'll have to wait and see on that one, though. Now let's get into our forward line and substitutions. So if you've been following the streams, you probably guessed that I brought in Erling Haaland for Harry Kane, and this was before the price changes, so we managed to get some value on him. And I think it was Reece James or Cancelo. Somebody got an extra 0.1 as well, which is why you see just above me the squad value says 99.7 at the moment. And we currently have the armband on Erling Haaland. I think he's the best captaincy option this game week. He's going up against the weakest opposition. He scored 2 goals. It's going to be his home debut. He looks like he's on penalties. Bournemouth potentially maybe come out and they're a bit, kind of cocky, being like, oh, we beat Aston Villa away from home. We're looking good, da-da-da-da-da. And then they go and get smashed. And every time City play Bournemouth, they typically give them a very good walloping. I think the last 5 times that they played them, I think I saw a stat on Twitter. Not sure if it's confirmed or not, but it seems like City beat them by 3 goals or more every time they play them. So Haaland's the captain this week. I think Palace will probably want to improve on their defense from last week, even though I thought Joachim Andersen was fantastic. It's just defensively, they, especially on the second goal, was obviously not great for them to concede. I think that, Salah might find it a bit tough. If Darwin Núñez starts from the start, then we can see him potentially hog up more of the chances. And we still have yet to see that. Whereas Haaland, we know he's going to get the lion's share of all the chances and looks to be on penalties as well. So I'm going to go with captaincy this week. Gabriel Jesus also isn't going anywhere as well. I liked what I saw. He just needs to now get the FPL returns. In terms of the bench order, Ward's going to stay on the bench for us. And then we're going to put Andreas Pereira first. He would be the one, I think, that would come in for Perisic if I get the inkling that, hey, look, Perisic isn't going to start. So he's first on our bench. Josh Da Silva being second and Cameron Archer being third. And the reason being is because you would think Archer has a better fixture versus Everton. But Da Silva is probably more likely to start, if anything. So that one is kind of a bit of a hit or miss there. We're probably not going to go to second or third sub. I expect all of these guys, if they play or if they are potentially going to play either off the bench or they're going to be starting from the beginning. So the likelihood of us even going to our first sub is probably fairly minimal. Maybe Perisic, but the likelihood is he'll probably at least come off the bench anyway, like he did in Game Week 1 as well. But let me just think down in the comments below, was it right for me to get rid of Kane right away and bring in Haaland? It may be a bit knee-jerk, but we talked about it even before the season started, and that was the plan all along. Decision didn't pay off. We were, I think it was 11 points down on that one decision there. So, again, a bit unlucky. If you had told me City scored 2 goals, but Spurs scored 4, and that's the only information you have to go off of, you probably would have picked Kane over Haaland too, just because of the sheer amount of goals. And you're thinking, well, City can score from everywhere. Spurs typically only score by Son or Kane, so Kane probably got at least 1. So, again, a bit unfortunate there. Would I do that decision again? Of course I would. Unfortunately, the variance didn't go our way this time. But like I said, leave your comments down below as to what your team's looking like for Game Week 2, what transfers you're considering. And that's going to do it for Game Week 2 lineup preview. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Scout members area, the one place that you need to be tuned into for the upcoming FPL season. It has a wide variety of resources and tools that will help improve your FPL game today. It has a bunch of different members-only articles written by some of the best FPL managers across the globe. heat maps for all the players and positions, as well as player comparison tools, which will help you see side by side who is going to be more effective for your FPL team, fully customizable stats tables powered by Opta stats, and much, much more. Use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to the Fantasy Football Scout members area today. It'll help improve your FPL game. This video has been sponsored by Manscaped, the best in male below-the-waist grooming. Make sure to check out manscaped.com so you can see the latest and greatest updates to their lawnmower, as well as their performance package, and much, much more for all their gadgets and gizmos to help keep your family jewels looking as shiny as ever. Make sure to use the code FLAME20 so that you can get 20% off your next Manscaped order, as well as free worldwide shipping. Go check out manscaped.com today. And that's going to do it for our Game Week 2 lineup preview. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so you can get the content as soon as it's readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, and give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. There's a pinned comment down below to let you know the details for our Saturday deadline stream for Game Week 2. We'll be up 1 hour before the FPL deadline, there to answer your questions and finalize our team as well. And lastly, check out Fantasy Football Scout in the description below. That is a link to the members area. It's going to help improve your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.